Well, I know some producers here in Brazil. They told me that due to pandemics, they started to work more reproductions. More people started to looking at them to produce stuff. Did this happen to you?
Well, a lot of mixes, more that kind of stuff, mixing, mastering, not so much the production where, you sit in the room together and work out songs, which is something I really like. I'm more into that. I like to mix and mastering's okay too. But I think if it's a passion, if you want to call it that, I prefer to work with bands, with musicians from the start, trying to get the complete product, the song sounding good, the playing sounding good first before we start doing the mixing and mastering. The mixing and mastering is the obligatory must do that's connected to the production. And I accept that I'm being asked to do it a lot. It's absolutely fine. I have no problem with that. I enjoy mixing and mastering, but I have to be honest, good old school producing is where I really, really feel the most comfortable.
Man, I bought my kind of mini home studio like almost a year ago, and I totally agree with this you're saying right now, because when I started to produce my own stuff, I really saw that the mixing and mastering, they don't make magic if you don't record well, if you don't produce well. They can even do magic, but you can see the magic. But a good mixing is not a real good mixing without a good production. So you need to
it's yes, you're right. And it's sometimes it's just a shame, having the best guitar sound or the best bass drum sound in the world doesn't do you any good if your arrangements are just boring and if your performance is not as good as it could be. And that's where most of the time is. Mixing, that's fast. I can do that. I'll mix an album in a week, no problem. But to get a really good production, well recorded, and all the arrangements ironed out and things sounding really cool, we're talking a month, maybe two. Stuff like Halloween, we spent literally 4 weeks just getting the songs polished off before we started recording. There's work to be done to get this kind of progress, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but the way it is, there's a lot of younger or newer musicians, I have to put it that way, that are overly convinced of their own things. And they're convinced that everything they do is just great. They think that their arrangements are great and everything they do is great. Now we just need a mixer to make it sound shiny and great, and then it's going to be a great album. And that's not true, unfortunately. There's a lot more to it.
You think we young musicians are kind of in a comfort zone because of technology? We have everything, plugins and all the stuff. We can do the magic in a program.
You are, and that's why I am surprised. When I used to sit there in the 80s, early 90s with my 4-track tape machine, trying to collect song ideas, program a shitty drum machine. I had 4 tracks, and eventually I got 8 tracks. I was, really trying my best to get as much done as possible. But we were still trying to get the song and, work out all kinds of details, which I noticed that nobody's doing these days, although the technology is there and I don't understand it. Sometimes I'm surprised. There are some good things, but I'm amazed that when you can buy a laptop for literally the price of an old 4-track, like what I paid back then for a 4-track, and you can do 1,000 times more, and still no one's trying to get all these details worked out. How does my song start? How long is it? Is it too long? Is this middle part necessary, or can this be better? Is there an alternative melody? Is there other things I can do better? And it's often like what I see, young musicians are treating it like a painting, where they're going, okay, I'm going to start, here's my base coat, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, okay, it's done. And forgetting they can go back and literally change anything they want. It's all at their hands. I would have given my right arm back in the 80s if I could have done what you guys can do today. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I would have written songs every day if I had this technology back then. And I know a lot of people are, but I'm still amazed that people aren't using this technology to, be self-critical and to evaluate their own music and say, maybe there's an alternative. Maybe I can do something else. Maybe this chorus isn't as good as I think it is. You know, maybe I could try something else. I see musicians get lazy quickly with this kind of stuff, and it's a bit of a shame, but that's, basically what I'm for. So I accept it.
Yes.